Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. I'm out here this morning on my morning ritual. I'm not dressed up, not fancy, but over the last week, a lot of people have been asking me about the Alex Morton saga. And I gotta say a few things. First is my disclaimer, otherwise my self-proclaimed agent, manager, accountability partner, pain in the butt, Tom Chenault will be saying, Troy, are these your clients? Vemma, the Briaco family, Jeunesse, the Lewis family, the Morton family are not clients of mine. I have clients in Jeunesse, I have clients in Vemma, I have friends in both companies. So this is not about who's right or who's not right. This is about wisdom journalism. What can we learn from this situation? You know, I believe right now that we've already seen the hypocritical move that this is. And I don't say that from malice, I say that from Alex's own words. He posted on Facebook of how people that leave a company when it gets hard are hypocrites, are losers. He used a lot of different languages, are not loyal. And he praised BK for having his back when his numbers were truly starting to fall. They'd already tapered off last year with all the negative publicity that had been out there from Truth in Advertising, all the colleges, the parents that were all in arms because Alex's part of YPR were stating college is irrelevant, it's not worth the money. That's a debate we can all have. But I think when we look at companies and owners like the Racer family over at Limu, Gary has embraced the millennial generation over there for the last few years. And he teaches them, finish school, get your degree, pay off your loans, pay back your parents. Totally different mindset. And we don't see this negative crap in that culture. So this is not a straight across the board millennial issue. It's not a straight across the board Jeunesse issue or Vemma issue. This literally has to do with the message that was coming out. When the Rolling Stone magazine came out, it was a scathing article. It was personal. I don't know what Alex did to that reporter, but you could tell from the words that the reporter used that he was making fun of Alex. He had a big head. His bodyguard's name was Sloppy. His girlfriend's biggest frustrations was that her belly button hole had covered up. I mean, I understand that, but parents got into an uproar. When Alex came out and said, well, in his video, the reason I'm leaving Vemma is because of my team and because of my family, and my family's not making any money, my team's not making any money. That has nothing to do with Vemma. That has to do with you. It has to do with me. See, when we're leaders, if we can't build leaders in our first three levels that can duplicate to their first three levels, who will duplicate to their first three levels, which puts it 9 levels deep, then guess what? We're not leading the way we need to lead. We see this over and over with people. This isn't about, hey, it's my team, it's my leaders. It's about you are leading and this is how you've got to lead. So, you know, we got to look at all of this. This isn't just a boom. I also don't think that it was, even though it looks this way, I don't think it was in the subterfuge of night that Alex decided to get in bed with the Lewis family either. I believe that Alex has probably been courted for several months, if not over a year, by different companies. And he finally chose the best deal. His mom and dad have been purported to be very successful in insurance. And if you're in insurance, then you know about the law of large numbers. You know about the law of averages. And if his father, who I'm assuming would be his main handler since he's still living at home, said, hey, I think this is the best deal for us, then that's what they did. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, first of all, with a company making a deal. There's nothing wrong with an independent distributor deciding to leave one company to another. There's ethical ways that you have to do it, or it can cause some major issues morally and legally. And what BK has and the Briaco family and Vemma has to look at now is, hey, do we find a contractual interruption here? Do we find tortious interference of business? Do we look at and go after Alex and the Morton family for what they've done and the fact that they're trying to raid and pillage the Vemma organization? Do we go after the Jeunesse and the Lewis family because they are interfering with our business, especially since inside of the policies and procedures at Jeunesse, it says we do not condone the actions of raiding and pillaging other network marketing companies. This is a fine case here that may go before some kind of legal issue. We got the DSA now that has to get involved because they made a proclamation, I guess, at the first of the year. I call it a proclamation. They may just say, no, a judge just made a statement. But he basically stated, we will be looking at every situation that violates the ethical code. Well, you know what? The DSA states in there, we do not condone the pillaging of member companies by other member companies. So that's got to be looked at here. This is not a cut and dry situation. This is not just a snot-nosed kid, 25 years old, who decided one day to get up and change his mind and move to another company. This is about a methodic, really thought-out process. And finally, the Morton family decided to divorce the Briaco family and go have an affair, get married, whatever you want to look at, with the Lewis family. Now, Jeunesse has got an uptick right now. And people are saying, well, look at their numbers. Look what they did last month. Well, last month was June. That was the first full month that they had the Monavie and the Mint organization in there. They opened up the founders deal again to where if they bought the bigger packs, they could become a founding member and get an additional bonus, I believe that it is. So you're going to see an uptick in numbers. But because Vemma and Jeunesse are both private, we don't know what the net worth or the profits are. I've seen people writing about Alex saying, well, he's a millionaire. He may have earned $1 million. He may not be a millionaire. You be very, very cautious what you state publicly. You could get Alex and the Morton family into an IRS audit, which we know other leaders have gone through, because somebody purports something. And in the IRS, who's got eyes on us right now, they look at the actual returns and say, well, that isn't what they put on their return. Are they hiding something? You guys go out there and promote how Jeunesse is having its best time ever. Well, that may be true. But are they burning through all the cash? In the publicly traded companies that we've looked at, some of them who have almost identical BDAs that Jeunesse does because of some common interests there, we find that they're just breaking even, in some cases losing money. So you've got to look at, where's the profit? Is it profitable? You know, that's the key. And I know people are saying, well, Troy, Alex has already said he didn't get an upfront deal. Well, he may not have gotten it in his name. We can't cut hairs. I got busted for cutting hairs with the SEC, so I know what people do. He could have gotten it in an LLC, in his mom's name, a trust name, or anything else. Okay, it could be anything. It could just be a traditional top-up deal where, hey, he went in and said, look, I think I can do $1 million in my first month, or $500,000 in my first month. And they say, okay, we'll pay you 100% of the volume you bring in. No big deal. You know, we don't know, and it doesn't matter. What matters is when you leave a company, you need to do it in an ethical and professional manner, like the planes flying over. You have to do it right. You don't do it after the business closes and send in a group resignation. You didn't join as a group, you can't resign as a group. You don't then in a few hours hold some kind of new business opportunity, knowing that all the Vemma people are watching you and that every time you stick something out, they're watching. You can't do that. Both legally and ethically, there's an issue there. Now, whereas the courts have already said, hey, you can say anything you want to on Facebook, your contract also talks about what you can and can't do, and that's got to be looked at. So for all you people that think this is the demise of Vemma, I've seen videos out there about them going bankrupt. They are not going bankrupt. Matter of fact, if you're that ignorant that you don't know what Vemma is and the sister companies that they owned and what they do, then you're clueless. Because unlike Jeunesse, Vemma owns its own formula. Vemma owns its own science officer. He's partners with BK. They own their own manufacturing, bottling. They own most of their infrastructure. And more than that, they actually, because they are so well known for their bottling cleanliness, for their quality, they actually bottle products for other companies, including some of the largest names in the beverage business in the world, not in direct selling, in the world. When you look at Jeunesse, they just bought Monavie. They got some new licenses. They got some formulas over there with that product. If they make those products go live, I don't know what all they're doing. It's not my business. You know, there's some great stuff. They are truly a marketing organization, and they have done phenomenally well. I just don't like some of the stuff that's going on. The hype, the propaganda, all these BDAs and stuff that's going on. I think that if we looked at all the bottom lines, if they were all disclosed, if it was done correctly, that'd be one thing. But the fact that they're not disclosing them, the fact that there's people propagating numbers and violating P&Ps all over Facebook, talking about money and not putting up the income disclosure statements and all this, there is just some issues here, both ethically and possibly civilly with the regulators that are looking all over. So you guys be cautious. You as the distributors are that front line. If you guys are screwing it up and the company's too big or they're turning a blind eye or whatever, at the end of the day, you're hurting everybody, including outside companies. So we got to be cautious with all this stuff. If Alex and the Morton family love the setup that they have at Jeunesse, great. It doesn't mean that the people over at Vemma are losing it. Matter of fact, let me share this and I'm going to close. Tom Alchasm, who I've only met in passing, is a virtual mentor of mine. I have watched him ride the New Vision all the way up, watched him ride it all the way down, watched him hang with BK, because he understands if you want to build long-term residual income, you got to stick it out through the hard times. He rode back up to Vemma, and he's climbed that ladder. Ruth Elliott and the Elliott family over at Vemma did the same exact thing. When I look at YPR, I never looked at Alex Morton as the leader of YPR. I looked at Brad Alchasm because I've watched Brad when he was in college. I know parents of kids that were with him, and they were pushing and growing and cruising. Matter of fact, I remember a conversation BK and I had, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing, that he said, Troy, Tom built it one way and Brad's building it another, and I told him, just let him go, man. He's a new generation. I believe that is accurate. That is true, and you're going to see stuff. When I see my friend Jeff Weisberg, who's a business associate of mine, who is built over there like crazy internationally, when I see Michelle Barnes, a phenomenal single mom who's raising her kids like that, no matter what company it is, I don't care if it's Jeunesse. I've got my good friend Kelly Bangert over at Jeunesse. Blowing and going long before Jeunesse was a cool word to use. He's out there building it internationally. Doesn't matter what company you're with. You've got to dig deep. You got to build it hard. There are no shortcuts. You look at Alex Morton and he's doing his thing. But you know what? I look at Eric Turner over at Disrupt, and he does it completely different. He does all this internet stuff, and he's doing phenomenally well, and his team is making lots of money. Why? Because they go out there and they sell a bunch of product. Find the company that's best for you. Find founders and leaders who have a driving purpose and a mission just like you, and go build something great. But stop this bull crap propaganda about, oh, this company's bad or that company's bad, or, oh my gosh, Alex left Vemma, so they must be bankrupt. Jeunesse is the greatest company out there. What goes up comes down. Every generation, every organization, every culture, when it's not built on sound principles, will fail. Just the name of the game. Live life like it's an epic adventure. Stay dangerous, stay strong, and if you're in network marketing,